Hi guys, Kayong here from Alpha Play. Alright, so if it's your first time watching this video, I'd like to welcome you and feel free to like and subscribe to our channel so that you get updated whenever we release a new video. And for those who have been following us, thank you for your support all along. So in this video itself, I'd like to share with you some of the analysis that we had and what are some of the potential coming forward this remaining days of the week itself. Alright, so today itself, if you look at the Forex Factory calendar, we do have the UK news coming in 4:30 in Singapore time. We have the average hourly average earnings index as well as the Claimant count change, followed by the ECB press conference by Draghi itself. Alright, tomorrow we have some interesting news coming in, especially for the euro. Alright, we have the minimum bid rate as well as the press conference coming in. Alright, and for Friday itself, the focus will be shifting towards the Canadian dollar, where we have the core CPI and the core retail sales. Alright, so today's focus, this video itself will be mainly on the pound itself. Alright, I'll share with you some of the potential setups that we have identified. Just a disclaimer that the analysis that we share with you might not be necessary those that we take, because as we analyze the shift in the sentiment and the shift in the fundamental, we might cancel some of these trades because it's no longer valid. Alright, but having said that, let's just jump into the technical charts. Alright, so let me share with you one of our experience in terms of the USD Canadian trade first. Alright, I posted something on my Facebook page earlier yesterday talking about whether traders do miss out good opportunities or even profitable opportunities in the market. Alright, and this is one classic example that we actually miss it. And is it common? Do we usually experience such things in the market? Yes, definitely. Alright, but the question is, we do not focus on the result, just the result, whether is it profitable or losing trade. But what we want to emphasize on is the process of which you actually take the trade. Right? So for those who are familiar, this is actually a potential bad pattern that has completed. Right over here. And you can see how price respected the 88.6, which is the completion of this pattern. Alright, and price just simply rolled over, hitting both TP1 and TP2. And for those who are taking extra TPs or even letting your profits run, this is an amazing trade. Alright, but we did not take it. We analyze it, we share with our students and our Cygnus client, but we ourselves didn't take it, and we also told them to actually cancel this trade. Why? Is because of the fundamental in terms of fundamental Canadian, right? Because if you are aware of Doha meeting over the weekend, is that the meeting didn't went as expected. They didn't freeze any production in oil, and there's a gap up over here. Alright, so what we did was we expect that Canadian dollar will continue weaken following the meeting. Alright, but it didn't happen. What did happen was that Canadian actually strengthened together with the weakness of the dollar, the US dollar. Right, it pushed this pair down. So if you ask me if this is a good trade in terms of we missing it out, alright, I will tell you yes, it's a good trade simply because of the plan that we have in mind. Alright, we followed it, the process that we went through putting into this trade itself. Alright, did we miss a profitable trade? Yes, but is it a good trade? Yes as well. Alright, so what I want to share with you is do emphasize on the process rather than just the outcome. Alright, so this is something that you might want to take note of throughout your trading career as well. Alright, so let's jump into the two potential setups that we have for you. Alright, the first one is the GBPUSD. This is on a H4 time frame. What we have is a Gartley pattern setting up. Alright, this is on the H4, so it's a higher time frame. What we have is the ABCD setup on the Gartley. Alright, and the price level that we're looking at over here is around the 1.4440. Alright, so if price comes up to this level, that's where we expect to short it. Alright, but in terms of fundamentals, some things to take note of is the US dollar currently, the sentiment and the fundamental bias is still on the bearish momentum. So that is experienced and evident from yesterday movement and Monday movement as well, where where you can see price actually went all the way up, driving from not just the weakness of the dollar, but also the recent strength of the pound. All right. So going into today's meeting later on, the data coming up, you might be very cautious if you want to take this trade. All right. My advice to you is to set a key alert. All right. That means when price reaches this level, this completion level at the 1.4440, you do not want to simply just take the trade, but you might want to have more confirmation, perhaps in terms of price action, perhaps in terms of your oscillator indicators, etc. All right. So this is something that I will share with you that we will not be taking. All right, but it's worth a watch if you are there when the news are released. All right. So the next, alright, so the stop loss for this one is just slightly above your previous high, alright, in terms of stops to be around at the 14485, alright, TP1 and TP2 is over here, alright, TP1 is around 1.4280, and TP2 will be 1.4170, alright. If you look at the risk to reward for this trade, it's definitely one trade that you might want to really consider, alright. TP1 give you a risk to reward of 1:3.28, and TP2 give you a reward of 1:5.44. Alright, the other pair that I wanted to share with you is on pound yen. Alright, this is also on a 4-hour time frame. Alright, what you have is also a potential bad pattern coming up. Alright, the thought process is very similar to pound dollar. Alright, so we have the UK news coming in later on. So what we are looking out for is, whether price, how will it react? Alright, should it come up to this level at 158.68? Alright, and if you look left, there is definitely some structural level happening over here. Alright, so let me drop horizontal line. Right, at the 88 level, right, you can see that there are some structural level over here happening. Right, so if you are into this, alright, same advice to you, do not simply put the panic order and take it, but wait for price action to give you some confirmation because of the major news release coming in. Alright, so if you are interested into taking this trade, let me measure the take profit and stop loss level for you. Alright, so usually what we do is our TP level, we like to set it on trade 2 Fibonacci as well as the 61.8 Fibonacci level. Alright, and our stops will be simply above the previous high. Alright, we give some buffer. So if let's say this is at 159.6, we give it about 25 pips buffer. So that will be 159.85. Alright, so that's where I'll stop. And our TP, first TP will be at the 382, and our second TP will be at the 618. Alright, so if you look at this risk to reward of this particular trade itself, TP1 give you a risk to reward of 2.15, and TP2 give you a risk to reward of 3.46. Alright, so it's also a trade simply based on risk to reward. It's a trade that is worth keeping an eye on. Alright, but having said that, there's nothing guaranteed. Alright, so depending on how price action reacts at the 158.68 level, then you make a decision on whether or not to take this trade. Alright, some other potential setups I would like to share with you that is not really pound related, alright, but in terms of euro dollar. Alright, this one we analyzed during the weekend, and we shared up with all our readers on our website as well that followed our blog. Alright, what we have over here is a divergence. Alright, we use the RSI period 7, and we do have a divergence over here. And then what price did was that price actually make a break below this lows of the divergence, and what we did was we simply wait for a retracement at the 61.8 Fibonacci level to spot for an entry level. Alright, so this trade is currently active. Alright, but for us, we actually we exited this simply because the Euro news came in yesterday in terms of the German economic sentiment was positive. Right, the overall Euro economic sentiment is also positive, and riding on the continued weakness in terms of US dollar, alright, building permits. And if you look into last week dollar data. All right, you can see core retail sales, PPI retail sales, core PPI are all negative. All right, and later on last week as well, if you look into this, USD CPI, core CPI are both less than expectation as well. So in terms of that, we are still banging that dollar weakness will continue in terms of the momentum, and therefore we do not want to take this trade. Right, simply because the fundamental data doesn't support the technical analysis. That means there's a misalignment. All right, technical analysis tell us that it should go down, but fundamental tell us otherwise. And when this happens, we do not take the trade. Right, but does it mean that we'll be right and this trade will not turn out profitable? No. All right, so it really depends on what is your plan. Right, some people simply trade based on technical, and that's fine if it works out for you. All right, so this is something that I want to share with you. All right, if you are a trader that trades on divergence retracement, this is something that you might want to look into as well. All right, so since this has happened, what you can look into is what you can do is you can drop into perhaps a 1 hour on a lower time frame. All right, wait for a double top. All right, plus price action. That means wait for a double top over here. Maybe you see a price action of a pin bar rejection or even a bearish engulfing. Then you can enter on that with a tighter stop, and therefore your risk to reward will also be better. All right, so these are some of the techniques that you can adopt to enter different kinds of setups as well. All right. Other than that, let me share with you a new strategy that we adopted. All right. Some of our clients and students from our trade signals also asked us, what is it about? All right. But simply, what we did is we adopted a breakout strategy. All right. Simply to ride on the trend. All right. Because what we identified is that sometimes. Usually our one of our strategy is to wait for price to actually retrace, and then we take on the retracement and ride on the trend of the direction. But what we saw is that sometimes price tend to not retrace towards where we want to enter before it make that move. So it break out directly. All right. So even though we have the direction identified correctly, we didn't manage to ride on that trend and wasn't able to actually make use of that opportunity to make a trade. So what we did was we devised and improved on our plan to actually include a breakout strategy. All right, this is one of the example. All right, Kiwi dollar. All right, that we actually entered on the breakout yesterday, and we can see that price actually hit our target one and all right, retrace, and so what we are waiting for is now whether price will actually hit our target too. All right, so this is something that we are still in the testing phase, but we are doing a live forward test. That means we are actually doing on our live account as well. So if for those who have been following me sometime, you realize that I don't really believe or enjoy doing back testing, simply because my analogy is that I can do back testing, and such, but when live market comes in, the live condition comes in, how I do a live analysis, how I execute my trade will very different from the back testing scenario, right? So that's where I believe that if you want to do something, right, do a live forward testing, and simply just trade with a smaller lot size, and then collect data and then do analysis and evaluation of whether this strategy in the long term or even medium term will it be profitable. All right, so let me do some testing on this strategy first before we conclude whether it's worth sharing this strategy out with you. All right, so what we had was we had 2 profitable trade running so far in terms of our breakout strategy. All right, but that's the initial phase, so give us some time to actually do some forward tests, and then when we conclude the result, we actually share with you this strategy as well. So for those who are on Forex Factory as well, we do have a forum thread that is open up to everyone who has questions. All right, let me share with you the thread itself. Right. Alright, my internet is not working, so what I'll do is I'll drop you the link below this video. Right, so for that, I'll talk to you soon.